Hello everyone, this is Roger with Dabble Lab, and today we're going to talk about bot files, bot configuration, bot secrets, bot file secrets, and authentication mechanisms. So let's jump right in. This project here is from prior videos, the Rajbot 5000, and the first thing that I want to take a look at here is this bot file. So what is a bot file? Why do we need a bot file? The bot file is a standard configuration file for the bot framework. And they wanted to have a standard configuration file for various things. We can see that we have a section in here for services, and it's carrying information about tenant IDs, service name, subscription ID. We've also got a section here for connection string for the service. We've also got various endpoints. We can see this is the local development endpoint. We can see the production endpoint, which is up at Rajbot 5000 Azure websites. We've got our instrumentation key, and we've got all kinds of information about this. Now, one of the things that is interesting or important about this is you might say, well, why are you showing us your connection string, and why are you showing things like the app password? Because these particular sections are actually encrypted. When you create this, or you have it created by the framework, it has this padlock section here, and that indicates that there is all of the things that are sensitive, the connection strings, the app password, for example, those are actually encrypted inside of this file. The theory being that this is safe then for you to use in source code control. Okay, so how do we create one of these? How do we manage one of these? How do we get a hold of the secret file? How do we do all of those things? Well, let's take a look at how this app actually starts up here. And if we look at the very tip top here, actually, let me go down to the resident interesting place here. This is where we have our bot configuration. And the one of the things that we're going to go for here is we're going to grab where our bot file is, and we're using a little utility here to look for the env, and we're using the .env to grab that configuration, and we're going to use that configuration to get the location of our bot file, or first the environment file, and then we use that to get the location of our bot file. And then we also load up our bot file secret and load that into the configuration. So using the bot file with a bot file secret, assuming that the bot file has its encrypted keys, is going to then decrypt the configuration. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rename my environment here to environment 2, so that when I start this up, it's not actually going to be able to find this. And let's see what happens. And we can see we got our error here, right? Error reading the bot file. Make sure that we have the bot file path and the bot file secret. So let's go back and fix the name of this so that it can actually find it. And let's take a look at what we have in here. One, we have just two simple settings here, the bot file path and then the bot file secret. The bot file secret here is what allows this configuration to decrypt those strings. So let's go ahead and run it now. And I've got a breakpoint set in here, and we can see that it did in fact load up our configuration for development. And if I step over this line, we can see that it has in fact looked up the endpoint and app ID and password development. Those don't have any app word or app ID and passwords in there, but we'll come back to see how that works before, or that works in a moment. But we can see this actually starts up successfully. Now, these two settings here, okay? Because without these two settings here, we can attach to the bot without using any bear token, for example. So if we just go in here and we open our bot file, we can see that it's picked up both of those endpoints from the bot file. And the very first time you connect this, since this is encrypted, it's going to ask you for that secret so that it can actually decrypt the settings. But we can see that we're running locally here. And we have also the ngrok traffic inspector set up. So if we go take a look at that, and I'll pull that over here. And one of the things that we'll notice if we look at the headers here, that there is no bear token. Okay. So let's see how this changes if I go back over here and I stop this. And I'm going to use the same app ID. All right, so let's open the bot file here. And we can see that this is now working again. And we put some information in there. We're getting that echoed back. And if we look at the traffic inspector, the difference on this one is when we look at the headers, we're going to see this bear token authentication. Right? So this bot is now requiring a bear token to talk to. So the endpoint itself now is protected with security. So back to a quick little review of how that is all set up. Inside of our endpoints, we have an app password and an app ID. And when we connect with the bot emulator, it needs to know what those are so that it can fashion the correct bear token and send it over to the bot. And the bot file itself, these values are actually encrypted. And let's take a look at a couple of different ones here. What can we do here with the bot by creating a new configuration? We can say, give me a new bot configuration. And then here's where we can actually put the app ID and the app password. And we can also encrypt the keys. And this will generate a secret, or we can generate a new secret. We can hide it, we can copy it, and we can save that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to call this testbot 123 123, and we'll say not to encrypt it, and we'll save this and take a look. Now, since I didn't put in the correct username and password, this emulator is not going to work, but I wanted to see what endpoint file it generated for us. We can see we don't have a padlock file, and we can see that this is not encrypted. Okay. So if I wanted to do that, I can go in here and I can say, you know what, I want to encrypt these keys. And I can copy my secret here and then save it. And then let's take a look at the difference. Okay. Now what we have is the app password is in fact encrypted. I have this padlock. And as long as I save the key, then anything that has the key in the path to this, when it loads up the configuration, can decrypt the app passwords. So this is the way to encrypt our app passwords, and also to set up the passwords and the IDs for the various endpoints in our configuration. Thanks a lot, everybody.